Marc Marquez, the executioner at Motegi. Good morning, Motegi. The chill in the Japanese air cuts sharp, but what slices sharper is the aura of one man who walks into this land with destiny in his pocket. Marc Marquez, 32 years old, body battered, mind sharpened, standing at the edge of history, hunting his 7th Premier Class crown and his 9th World Championship overall. Let's not play polite here. Let's not romanticize it with soft words. This is brutality scripted into sport, and the center of it is a Spaniard who was supposed to be done, who was supposed to retire broken, whose right arm was supposed to be a scar of the past, not the weapon of the present. But he's here, and Motegi is about to feel the weight of that storm. This season, 2025, has not been a championship. It has been an execution. Rivals have been reduced to data points, their once sharp edges dulled by a man who turns every Sunday into a theater of domination. 11 Grand Prix wins, 14 sprints, 25 total victories already this year. Do you understand what that means? 25 times this man has stood in the middle of the paddock and told the rest of the grid, "You are children." 25 times he has crushed dreams before they even had time to become ambitions. And now the calculation is absurd. A 182-point lead over Alex Marquez, his own brother, the only soul left with mathematical air in his lungs, and all Marc has to do is outscore him by 3 points at Motegi. 3 points. That's all it takes to bury the season right here in Japan. But let's not reduce Marc Marquez to numbers alone. He is not a spreadsheet. He is the violence that walks in human form on a motorcycle. He is the definition of adaptation under fire. His style is not pretty, it is predatory. He drags elbows at 70 degrees, scrapes physics with his body, holds the front end on a leash that every other rider sees snap in their hands. When the bike should be sliding into the gravel, Marc saves it with a flick of his shoulder, with muscles trained in pain and reflexes sharpened in dirt. They call it elbow down riding. I call it survival at speeds where survival doesn't belong. That's his art, turning chaos into a controlled advantage, making near death into routine, and forcing every rider behind him to ask themselves how the hell they are supposed to match that. The comparison points are brutal. In 2014, he won 10 races in a row, ripping through the paddock like a plague. 13 wins that year, the most in history. In 2025, he is on pace to erase even that. Agostini's ghost already pushed aside, 73 Premier Class victories in the bag, 125 podiums, 100 poles, a podium percentage of 61% across the carnage of 12 years. And here's the most insane detail. All of that comes with a broken body, with screws in his humerus, with double vision haunting him like a shadow, with surgeries that kept him from lifting a glass of water without pain. And yet here we are, a resurrected killer, cutting through a generation that thought they'd buried him. Let's rewind. 2020, Jerez, the crash, a high side that snapped the right humerus, the bone that would become the curse. 4 surgeries later, his career was nearly gone. Titanium plates, infections, nerve damage. He couldn't open a door, let alone ride 350 kilometers per hour on a Ducati. And just when he clawed back, diplopia returned. Double vision. A condition that makes the track split into 2. That was his reality in 2021, 2022. Indonesia, 2022, one of the most violent highsides ever recorded. Body smashed, mind rattled. He missed races, he considered quitting. The legend almost died right there. But you don't kill Marc Marquez that easy. In 2023, at Motegi, he stood on the podium again with Honda, a farewell gift before walking away from the team that had become a cage. Then came 2024. The Gresini Ducati, a year-old bike, the GP23, a machine every factory man dismissed. Yet Marc bent it to his will. Podiums, wins, fights with Bagnaia and Martin on newer machinery, 3rd in the championship. That was the turning point. Ducati looked at the data and knew they had to have him. Because if this man could tame a GP23 and fight the sharpest knives in the drawer, what would he do on the GP25? The answer is what we're living right now. Complete annihilation. The GP25 is a machine that humiliated Bagnaia, It broke Martin's rhythm. It turned championship contenders into mid-pack strugglers. But for Marc, it was oxygen. His adaptation, his insane ability to squeeze lap times out of imbalance, made the bike look like perfection. He said it himself. Whether the setup is good or bad, he finds the lap time. He finds the knife's edge and balances there, dancing on rubber molecules no other rider can feel. That's what makes him different. That's why Gigi Dall'Igna pulled the trigger on him. That's why Ducati risked their political balance to put Marc in red. Because when you hand him the keys to a weapon, he doesn't just win. He rewrites the definition of winning. And now Motegi, a place laced with history, where he sealed titles in 2014, 2016, 2018, a land of deja vu for Ducati too, where Casey Stoner broke Japanese dominance in 2007 and delivered their first crown. This track is not about layout, it's about significance. The long straights, the stop-and-go corners, the brutal acceleration zones. They test a bike's balance, a rider's braking heart, a champion's patience. Marc has conquered this ground before, and now he returns with the biggest chance yet, sealing his comeback crown on the same soil where Honda once worshipped him. The permutations are simple. Outscore Alex by 3 points across sprint and race. But simplicity doesn't mean irrelevance, because if he clinches here, it will be the most symbolic slash of all. Honda's backyard, Ducati's resurrection, Marc's revenge. If it rolls over to Mandalika, fine, but that track has been cursed for him. Diplopia in 2022, double crashes in 2023, mechanical DNF in 2024. He does not want to wait. He wants to end it here, in Motegi, the stage that birthed his titles and now can crown his comeback. What does it mean if he wins? It means he equals Valentino Rossi. 7 Premier Class crowns, 9 total world championships. Rossi's Yellow Army, still chanting 2015 in their sleep, will have to swallow the truth. Marc didn't fade. Marc didn't break. He came back and matched the god they built shrines for. Every critic who called him finished will have to rewrite their narrative. Every rival who thought the new era belonged to them will realize they were placeholders. Marc Marquez is not just back, he's back at his most merciless. Rossi's 9 are no longer untouchable, and that will burn deeper than any loss on track. So let's get brutal. This is not romance. This is not nostalgia. This is not about fairy tales. This is war. Marc Marquez has turned MotoGP 2025 into a battlefield where he alone dictates survival. His technique, his history, his scars, his sheer refusal to die. This is what makes him unrelenting. Motegi is not just a track on the calendar, it's an altar. And this Sunday, Marc Marquez is not coming to pray. He's coming to execute, to bury the doubts, the rivals, the ghosts, to show that you can break bones, blur vision, scar a body, but you cannot break will. Because here's the truth. Marc Marquez is the most unrelenting force this sport has ever seen. And Japan is about to witness the coronation of brutality turned into legacy.